Just think for a second. What's the worst possible thing a horrible civil war can create? Death? Destruction? Discord? It's MS-13, the lethal product of the El Salvadorian Civil War that consisted of 50,000 members at one point and killed nearly 250,000 people. Today, we're going to talk about the deadliest, most violent gang to have formed in the barrios of Los Angeles. It spread its roots throughout the world until it nearly engulfed and suffocated it. MS-13, or Mara Salvatrucha, the local street gang that began in LA and landed right in the middle of Honduras and El Salvador, famous for their machete murders and bone-chilling motto, kill, rape, control. Here is our take on the most ruthless assassins of MS-13. And you are going to want to hang out till the end just to find out who started the fire. According to the 2009 National Gang Threat Assessment, the gang is said to harbor almost 30,000 to 50,000 active members worldwide. Out of that, a whopping 8,000 to 10,000 live in the United States. It is a mystery how some local street gang members managed to become one of the craziest hitmen of all time. And if you thought it was just middle-aged men that did it all, you would be wrong. MS-13 had the power to convert even a minor into the most trained assassin, who would ruthlessly rip open your heart in a matter of seconds. Ripping of hearts seemed like something MS-13's prized member Miguel Angel Tobar really liked doing. One time, he did it with his bare hands. During his blood-ridden career at the MS-13, he killed almost 50 people before trying to get some sort of redemption. But is there truly redemption for a soul like Miguel's? Tobar was born with a hitman's soul. In 1994, he made his very first attempt to murder only at the age of 11, when he cornered and tried to finally put an end to his sister's abuser. He failed this time, but then he never did. In 1998, at just 15 years old, Tobar fulfilled one of the most important initiations of the MS-13 gang. Murder for murder's sake. He brutally murdered a teenage boy who worked as a double member for MS-13's rival, 18 Street Gang. As loyalist as he was, double members never sat right with Tobar, and he was known for brutally murdering and violating Caballo, another double member who never saw the light of day once news spread to Tobar. Tobar's loyalty only took him so far. In 2009, at the age of 26, after killing double the number of people than the actual years he had lived, Tobar began working with the police to help arrest some significant MS-13 gang members. He helped arrest 30 members of the Fear Gang in exchange for a promise that he would be protected against all gang member attacks. Guess what? Redemption only goes so far. Tobar was killed by his own gang members when police and the Attorney General's office did not provide him much protection. On November 21, 2014, Tobar breathed his last, perhaps facing something far worse than a gun. Next up is Lenise Escobar, who lives up to the very famous surname of hers, although she's not related to Pablo Escobar. Lenise was a minor when she helped lure 5 innocent boys into a trap, and helped brutally murder 4 of them while one ran for his life. All for what? Because they posted a selfie-making gang signs with their hands. That tipped Lenise and the other members of the MS-13 the wrong way, and they sniffed a rival gang in the making. On April 11, 2017, the murders of Justin Livicura, Michael Lopez, Jorge Tigre, and Jefferson Villalobos in New York shocked the world, because the one who initiated them was called La Diablita, or Little Devil, a 17-year-old girl from Long Island who lured the boys in to smoke some pot. In 2022, Lenise, who was 22 years old at the time, was found guilty of her participation in the murder of the 4 boys with axes, machetes, knives, and wooden clubs. Let's just say she earned the title of Little Devil. Behind the face and body tattoos that cover the MS-13 members are men and women who have had it rough in life and found the wrong way out. One such man was responsible for murdering a bus full of women and children while they were out for an intercity trip. One of the deadliest assassins in MS-13 history would be Juan Bautista Jimenez, the mastermind behind the bus massacre that left the world shocked. Jimenez did not like how the government planned to curb him and his gang members with the reintroduction of the death penalty, so he did what the most ruthless man in the world would do. He opted for violence, and that too over women and children. He became one of the most hunted men of the MS-13 until 2007, when he was arrested by the police and put behind bars. It was here that the true nature of the gang unveils itself. Because Jimenez had had too much intel on MS-13, his own gang members in the cells caught hold of him and hung him. The mastermind behind the massacre was murdered in the dead of night in true MS-13 style. Another duo of monstrous and cold-blooded killers from MS-13 is that of Miguel Alvarez Flores and Diego Hernandez Rivera. These two were Satanists and illegal immigrants from El Salvador, who were charged with the murder and kidnapping of a New York minor who had moved to Houston with her parents. In the year 2017, another identified 14-year-old girl claimed that she had run away from school and that Alvarez and Hernandez had kidnapped her, sexually abused her, and force-fed her drugs while they kept her hostage in their apartment. The court trial for the young criminals was quite controversial, as the two waved and smiled at the camera, showing absolutely no remorse. Oftentimes, women and children are spared even in the worst of wars, but that is not the case with the most ruthless assassins of MS-13. In 2010, gang member Rene Meja pleaded guilty to murdering a 2-year-old child because it was crying too much after he had murdered its mother in a wood. The young mother had had her MS-13 ex-partner beaten up by a rival gang, and that did not sit right with Meja, who then took the matter into his own hands. It is the presence of this gang in El Salvador due to many deported members that have terrorized the locals. Together in 48 different US states and many other countries, they formed the strongest cult-like presence in Latin American history. The homicide rate in El Salvador skyrocketed in the early 2000s and is now the highest in the world because of MS-13. An ex-MS-13 hitman named Juan aired a confessional once in which he narrated the horrors of working with the gang. On one of the gang's assigned murder jobs, the victim was cut into 13 pieces and put in boxes. In other instances, whole families were murdered in cold blood while still in their own houses. There was no bounds to the kind of horror the gang unleashed, so much so that Donald Trump, the ex-president of the United States, termed them a terrorist organization.
Criminal cartel, MS-13, and many other gangs. But MS-13 is particularly violent. They don't like shooting people because it's too quick, it's too fast. I was reading one of these animals was caught and explaining they like to knife them and cut them and let them die slowly because that way it's more painful and they enjoy watching that much more. These are animals.
But wait, we saved the best for last. Anyone who knows anything about MS-13 knows something about Smokey, the founder, a fled El Salvadorian who found his way into the heart of Los Angeles' gang wars. He single-handedly made MS-13 something far more grand than a street gang could ever be. It rose up to become the greatest hub of prostitution, rape, weapon dealing, threat, murder, drug, and sex trafficking in all of Latin America. After wreaking havoc in the United States, he was deported to his home country in 2004. And for a moment, it seemed Smokey could finally find a way home. He began studying to become a lawyer, and even had a beautiful little daughter who drew out the best in him. But once you're branded by MS-13, it's hard to let go. He left, but did it leave him? Not really. He was killed by his own gang members for refusing to attend a party invitation for one of the assassins who was getting out of prison. It was that easy for all his tries and efforts to be wiped out. In the end, he was sucked in by the same hell he had started years ago. It all got back to him like it did to many before him and will to many after him. There's no real reason or solution as to why the gangs do what they do for salaries as less as $60 a week. Yes, shockingly, that's what MS-13 paid its members, and the more brutal you were, the better. So now think upon it. Do these hitmen deserve redemption? Can there be forgiveness for a lost teen who landed on the wrong side and had no one to guide them? Do let us know in the comments what you think. Also, like the video and subscribe to our channel for more thrilling content ahead.